Hey gang, CS Bernard here once again for Geeky News, and this time I'm finally getting caught up with myself and getting onto that Sonic the Hedgehog number 226 review from Archie Comics. And frankly, what can I say? As I said, this thing is a beast for me to have to read these days. Probably because it's best summed up in this cover, as you can see here. Does it look the least little bit familiar? Well, if you checked my introduction, you would know, of course, that it looks just like the cartridge box for the original Sonic the Hedgehog game. And that's just the best way, in my opinion, just to go ahead and piss off anybody that ever enjoyed the original games, which had, little to no storyline and very few characters. Because the very first thing they do with this is they toss in none other than Snively Robotnik, Sally Acorn, Antoine Depardieu, and Boomer Walrus. Which really irks me because that gets ahead of even Tails, who was pretty much guaranteed to arrive about the same time these other characters did. Hell, Tails was in more cartoons than any of the other characters all combined. I mean, where's the love for the classic sidekick? The Robin to Sonic's Batman. The, Wonder Girl to Sonic's Wonder Woman. And trust me, Wonder Woman is more manly than this little sniveling bitch face. Okay, I'm getting ahead of myself. For those of you who don't remember, in Sonic the Hedgehog number 225, Dr. Robotnik finally, got one up on his archenemy, Sonic, after many, many tries of world domination. He got the leg up on him by, resetting reality, which, admittedly is a great plan. A lot of villains have done it. The Anti-Monitor, Alexander Luthor. Come on, it's a great plan. What better way to go ahead and just ruin the lives of all your enemies, and sometimes your friends? What better way to just ruin everything for everyone else than to reset reality and set yourself up as a god among men? How perfect. Well, it would be perfect if not for the very, very stupid thing that Sonic seems to be the only one that really knows there has been a reality reset. Oh, he doesn't know it outright, but he gets a vibe off of it. He mentions it several times over somehow knowing it just feels right to name certain robots certain things from the games. Motobugs and caterpillars. He knows it feels right to go ahead and save Sally, of course, saving the hot squirrel chick for himself and leaving the other guys to, fend for themselves. Sure, they get rescued by a buzz bomber, but that's another thing. Having mentioned being rescued by a buzz bomber, doesn't it just feel right that Antoine and Boomer would go ahead and hitch a ride on an enemy robot having been reprogrammed by Boomer during a fight scenario? Just screams the original game, doesn't it? Even better is the fact that Princess Sally apparently was an understudy for Eliza Thornberry from the Wild Thornberries and can talk to animals through birdsong. Yay! What a load of bullshit. I mean, really, the plot here is off the wall and stupid. Entirely. Completely. I mean, Sonic can go ahead and understand that there's been a reality reset, but not even Dr. Robotnik, Dr. Eggman, as he is referred to here, who doesn't even seem to know what the Death Egg from last issue is all about. The Death Egg, of course, being, the Sega-friendly version of the Death Star, which, it does what it does. But at any rate, doesn't that just top off the ultimate stupid plan for a villain? He reset reality, left himself a giant battle station to use after the reset has been made, and then, of course, what happens? He doesn't know what to do with it, because he apparently didn't think to leave, a pre-recorded message, phone, voicemail for himself. The stupid fucker doesn't even use a post-it note on the control panel. Why? Why would you do that? It astounds me. No villain that I know of, this isn't something that Dr. Doom would pull. This isn't something that, Lex Luthor would forget about. This isn't something even Dr. Wily would fuck up. But somehow, don't ask me how, these assholes have done it for this storyline. Somehow, even after a reality reset, the heroes just are automatically going to win because they've yet to be really stopped. How can you stop a super fast hedgehog, a genius bruiser, and Little Miss Dr. Doolittle. How can you stop that? You can't. That's how. I would have scans this, but, somewhat it doesn't deserve it. But my own scanner broke out. Still, on the whole, I can give this thing some benefit. As always, I have to give credit where credit's due to the inkers, the colorists, and so forth and so on. Even Tracy Yardley has been somewhat getting better at his craft, who I've constantly complained about in previous text-based reviews on livejournal.com. Check them out sometime. But still, there's just something staticky about all of it. The action, the dialogue, everything. It doesn't flow like it should in most traditional literature cases, especially in comic book format. I've often complained about Tracy Yardley's artwork, who has come up with some incredible things, such as the Shadow the Hedgehog grump face that has made its way across the internet as a meme. Not to mention the Tails do not want face that many people have been aware about. And if you remember reading my review of the Knuckles storyline from Sonic Universe, then you know about the sucking on a lemon Julie Sue. But he's been somewhat improving here and there, and I think that Matt Herms' coloring has been doing him a big service all throughout. Even this cover, which is actually done by Patrick Spazianti, who is one of the best in the Sonic the Hedgehog stable of line artists, who gets criminally underused, along with a number of others. Just saying. Even the cover, despite, completely shitting in our faces, is good. I mean, it at least looks decent. The only offensive thing being the fact that, what with the Reality Reset having supposedly done away with all sorts of other things, it should have gotten rid of the green eyes you can see on this cover. Sonic the Hedgehog originally started out with fully black eyes in a completely Mickey Mouse fashion. Here, no, he has his more recent green eyes, which, for some people that completely ruins it, but in this case, it's just an annoying little tick that comes up because of the fact that reality is supposed to be reset. This was something done away with, or explained away with, some of the issues in the 70s. The time that we tried to integrate the Sonic Adventure storyline when we made the jump from 2D gaming to 3D gaming. Should have been done away with. After all, he's back to his little pudgy body instead of his lean, mean, athletic track runner outline. More on the same subject, even though it was supposed to be retconned and explained away that Sally was always a redhead with brown fur, I still would have found it more intriguing to have either a blonde or brunette Sally with pink fur running around. That would have been, at least, mind-blowing as opposed to just the traditional everything, including the blue vest. Could have just had the blue boots. That's what she originally had. Just saying. Yikes. I mean, after all, Boomer got tossed back into just a utility belt and yellow baseball cap, flipped backwards, of course. And Antoine just lost his swords. Although, don't worry, he's been turned back into an even bigger pussy than he was originally. And to the point that he's not even arrogant or, pompous and pushing himself around. Which really kind of pisses me off because, we can't have a little bit of romantic comedy tension between Antoine, and Sally as it used to be. No. The writers have to insist on their way of looking at things. Nice. Completely dickish, but nice. Ugh. At the same time, even Robotnik, who has been changed so many times over the course of comic books, animation, and video games, it's ridiculous, is taken from his, kind of sleek, neo-military, doctoral outfit back to a cheap supervillain costume of a red long-sleeve shirt, black pants, and a little yellow cape. And yet Sally remains untouched. That just bugs the piss out of me. Ugh. There's really nothing else to say. I could go into greater details, such as the fact that Snively has been reset to the point that he's a completely loyal nephew. But in fair exchange of things, at least Eggman seems to be a more caring uncle. That's kind of a welcome dynamic change. At least now we don't have the chronic backstabbing disorder that the two carry on over and 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 over again. Thankfully. Still, it's just very offensive to have the freedom fighters fighting for our freedom, as Sally puts it, ahead of poor little Tails. I mean, if you were going to do this, guys, you should have spaced it out. You could have started completely from scratch, gone back to the very beginning, and instead of breezing through 3 stages of the original game in one issue, you could have made one stage the whole focus of an entire issue, and that would have been it. And you could have progressed on and on. You could have completely reset reality on this. But no, we have to go for this cheap Weasley method that will go ahead and make sure we insert what we want as the writers and not what would have been better in terms of storytelling or reintroducing the character for a modern audience. Shame, shame, shame. Despite the improvements in artwork, at least in terms of Matt Herms' coloring, I can't praise the guy enough. Hell, I think he's a good enough line artist that for a comedy series, which is what they're supposed to be half the time, he'd be great as a main line artist. But that's just my opinion, apparently. Regardless, for the good artwork, good, not great at all, for the good artwork and piss poor storytelling, I can only really give this thing 2 out of 5 stars. I mean, it really drops the ball. It's a D- at best. It hovers right over failure, depending on where the storyline will go. Don't worry. I've reviewed previous Ian Flynn storylines before. I'm sure this thing will hit the septic tank fast. But, in the meantime, take what you get. For me, C.S. Bernard, it's been another Geeky News Review, and I'll see you next time.